an intro to cloud computing course. A lot of this would be some demystifying, no, and definition of terms with regards to cloud computing and some use cases too. And then, as Sir Richard mentioned, so I'm mainly to security field, no? So I'm tying this up to security on cloud since the main objective of what we were using cloud with for the past decade was availability, no? And that was highlighted during the pandemic when it's hard to purchase equipment, no? And servers and switches and racks, and then the shipping of equipment has become a nightmare, no, for various enterprise. Hence, the adoption of cloud computing for the past, I would say, 3 years, no, especially at the start of the pandemic, skyrocketed. And everyone wanted to go to the cloud because, well, even if they wanted on-prem, no, there was simply no equipment available, no. And if you have purchased equipment during that time, and even now, no, um, typical lead time that we are receiving from vendors is 180 days to even a year, no, for equipment, no. But if you need to launch a service or you need to increase capacity or you have a problem and you need to migrate, the the timing wasn't really in favor, no. Hence, um, it was also adapted by OpenRAN, no, to use cloud. This for a lot of components actually, to see basically streamline yung provisioning process, yung capacity and scaling. And while initially, of course, availability and scaling yung naging driving force, no, to go into cloud with Open RAN. No? Now, of course, security would also need to be considered because this is a critical infrastructure. This is a communication system. No? So, for this course, I could start with sa intro to cloud computing, no? Tying it up to cloud security, some challenges that we are encountering, benefits, current trends, and of course yung discussion of key learning points for this course. So, cloud computing, no? This is a good buzzword. You've heard this a lot na conference for, let's say, for the good amount of decade, no? But the basic premise of cloud computing is basically virtualization, no? Or even not virtualization, no? Even hosting before, no? The term cloud, hosting your services on another server is technically what cloud is, no? But with the virtualization platform, vendors were able to optimize yung allocation process and basically um, enable them, no, to what we say na sashaying of charges, no, for you, no. So benefit of course is you don't have to do a capital outlay, no, when provisioning some services. You could just pay as you go, okay? But of course there's some issues with that too. Baka mali yung computation ng iba. If thinking nila it's cheap, they'll just move to the cloud without considering other issues that would be needed na to operate there. So history, no? Early computing natin, it was a centralized application, no? Only running one isolated computer. Okay. Centralized, no, with some terminals to access yung mga big computers way back 70s, no? Even early 80s. No? But the next cycle was the personal computing era. This was when IBM and Microsoft, no, was able to come out with DOS and eventually Windows, and making sure that the matter of every computer in a home, no, ni Bill Gates was fulfilled, no, and roughly around mid 90s, no, to late 90s, that was the thing, no, everyone's buying computer. And around late 90s, no, that's also the time that internet was booming, no? Especially with the 2000 you call this dot-com bubble, no? Where everyone wanted to be online, then everyone was, a lot of them were a flop, no? But those who survive are actually billion-dollar industries now. And while virtualization wasn't new, no? Late 90s to early 2000, dun nakita yung use of virtualization. wherein you have PCs and servers that's not actually being utilized 100%, no? Dedicated for a certain task. They determined that, well, if we could mix and match yung mga services to make sure that the servers utilize maybe 60-80%, no? That would basically reduce the cost of the total cost of ownership of a service kasi they could share resource. And virtualization, one of its benefit was hindi siya nagkakakitaan, no? It's containerized for that matter, no? There is a barrier, no, between two virtual platforms, no, running on the same machine. Before virtualization kasi was used, we heard of shared hosting, no, na meron ka lang si panel account, you have multiple users, and there's a lot of um, security issue that arise from that, no? If weak yung delineation between two users, no, one user could actually access another user's system, no, and that became a problem, no? So with virtualization, we were able to solve that, no? Naka-isolate, naka-jail per system, and you use yung kung na resource na na-allocate sa'yo. So nagkaroon din ng optimal resource management. So another challenge is another one, no, after that is, well, what are the challenges dun sa cloud computing was yung application is centralized, no? Paano kung may mga device or system, no, na environment that we needed to run it as close to the user as possible, no? And that is solved, no, with edge computing, which will be discussed on the next session natin. So parang ano naging centralized, tapos naging decentralized. Centralized ng early computing, naging decentralized ng personal computing, and then naging centralized ulit sa cloud computing, and now we're trying to decentralize again with edge computing. So medyo may cycle yung computing paradigms natin. Now we're trying to push the computation back sa end user and just making cloud as a storage or a routing mechanism. But it has its use cases. So cloud infra players, could discuss here some cloud providers, well-known cloud providers for that matter, no? And of course, we know the three leaders, no? It's AWS, Microsoft, and Google, no? And in that order, no? And the rest is just following, no? So Alibaba, Oracle, Tencent, IBM, even Huawei Cloud, no? So mga niche players lang for now, no? But of course, yung ultimate goal nila is maging AWS. And fortunately for Amazon, they've been using cloud computing and virtualization platform since they conceptualized na yung stores nila online, that allowed them to scale, and this scale depending on the need. And history taught them na, okay, if we could commoditize and commercialize this technology, we could sell it to the rest of the world, no? And that's what they did, no? This is actually the technology that they were using to support their online store. And now, I think they're making more money sa AWS, no? But I'm not sure sa financial. Same concept with Google. They've been using the same similar technology on their back end, and they offered this as a Google Cloud, no, platform, GCP. Microsoft naman, on the other hand, they realized na they control basically a huge chunk, no, of enterprise market, no, with their Active Directory, and then of course yung Windows client, no. They wanted to dive into the cloud market, so they conceptualized na, well, we could copy Google with their Office 365 initially, and then the infra on the back end, no, is also similar, so they were able to market this Azure, no, and eventually even the Microsoft Active Directory, no, could be hosted in the cloud, para you don't need to be maintaining, no, your Active Directory infra on-prem, no? Although you still need a copy federated, no, but the main Active Directory would now be hosted in the cloud, wherein they would handle the updates, the patching. It's basically platform as a service, no? You just configure and optimize it as same fit for your organization. So for market share, this was Q2 2022. Still 34% is AWS, leading provider for cloud. The lead used to be bigger, no? I think more than 50% was AWS. Azure was trailing a second, no? But again, with the adoption of cloud-based Active Directory and Office 365 for Microsoft-centric organization, Azure was able to capture that market, no? Google Cloud's still up there, number three, no? But very small chunk of the cloud market since we all know pag ano, no? Pag sinabing cloud, no, iniisip kaagad ng tao is AWS, no? So, they got that branding, at least for Amazon, no? So, Azure and cloud, depende lang kung meron ka specific use case. Like for Azure, if you're running an Active Directory for your enterprise, then that's a good consideration, no? And then Google Cloud, well, if nasanay ka na ng G Suite since or Gmail, no, since early 2000s, then and you don't need Active Directory or you don't have any features that is AWS only, no? So you could go full Google Cloud and the rest of the niche market. So discussions on the different types of cloud computing services. No? So we have infrastructure as a service. So this is your AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure, no? Wherein the vendor, no, handles the infrastructure. But that's it. No? They handle the virtualization platform, and to a degree, no, that's all they would be able to provide to you. And you would be in charge, no, for the OS, the maintenance, the upgrade of the OS, the software you're gonna install, the configuration of it. So that's infrastructure as service. This is our typical data center hosting, way for the cloud. No? So that's how they position infrastructure as a service. When you talk about platform as a service, this is your GitHub, your Docker, your Kubernetes, no? Wherein the provider, the vendor, no, assumes responsibility of one step, no, above infrastructure as a service. And when you go to software as a service, no, like Microsoft Active Directory in the cloud, G Suite, Google Workspace, no, on that note, it's now the responsibility of the provider or and vendor, no, to maintain and operate and patch, no, yung software running on top of their infrastructure. But that said, no, yung identity and access technically is still, no, within the responsibility of the user, which is us. So yun yung common discrepancy na pang cloud is secure, yes. Depends on how you what type of service are you using, diba? And your capability to secure it. But that's not always the case. Tingin lang ng mga tao is once na nag-cloud ka, that's secure already. Tas wala ka na kailangan i-maintain. So that's a wrong assumption. No? Now for other delineation in the cloud, we have yung private cloud, wherein this is hosted within the organization. Pwede rin naman siya nasa data center. Okay, but the hardware and the software is operated by the organization alone, no? And walang ibang tenants, no, that outside the organization. So that's how we define private cloud. About yung maintenance nito, of course, power, internet, cooling, even up to that level, no, it's responsibility of the organization. Now, there is the cloud that we are accustomed to, no? Yung public cloud. Again, using example of AWS, Azure, GCP. The infrastructure and the back end, no, for the most part, is handled by the vendor. Okay, but again, note, if you are doing compute instances on that, you are responsible for the patching and the security of the VMs. Now, that said, you could combine two, no? You could have a private cloud and a public cloud, then you could sync both of it, and that's what we call basically a hybrid cloud. Okay? But so still, you need to be aware to what part is the responsibility of the vendor and what part is the responsibility of the user. So you could, of course, provision then time, resource, people to manage this. It's not instant, no? That you just deploy and then forget about it, no? That's grounds for failure. No. So, moving to security, no? So we think cloud computing is secure. No? I'm sure you've heard of a lot of services, no, that was breached and hosted in the cloud. Because it doesn't matter, no? It's just um someone else's computer, no, na hinos mo. And AWS actually have this shared responsibility model wherein they delineate, no, in a graphical form, no, up to what part lang yung responsibility namin, no. So I don't think you could see my mouse. You could see my mouse. So AWS, if you're using infrastructure as a service, no, they are responsible for the infrastructure and the software of virtualization. That's it. But if you're using some of their services on like RDS, S3, no, to a degree they would be uh delving into ano na platform as a service, so they would get some of this information. No? But for simplicity, no, yung sinabing AWS and then compute instance yung pinag-usapan natin, AWS would handle the hardware and the software for that compute for virtualization. But the OS, no, once you instantiated some VMs, no, and the servers and the softwares, no, that comes with it, that would be part of the user's responsibility. Na. Meaning, if you did not patch your server, no, and may vulnerability that could cause code execution to gain access to your machine, that's on you. That you cannot blame AWS for that, no? Or you set up a system, it's very secure, ina-update mo yun, but your users set their password na basic password 123, and some threat actor was able to guess that and gain access to your system, and then that's on you. Or it's a very secure password pero nagpadala yung threat actor ng phishing link on the user, and then the user click and then gave out the username and password and OTP. That's still not the responsibility of AWS. That's on the client side. No? So, again, they want to delineate kasi laging ano tayo, point of contention. No? Okay, I moved to the cloud. It's supposed to be secure. So, but ako na-hack. You still get hacked no? If you're in the cloud. This is Azure. Similar approach but much more granular. No? Kasi yun parang that, infrastructure as a service lang yung sa AWS. With the Azure one, of shared responsibility model, they delineated, no, paano pag SaaS, pag PaaS, pag IaaS, IaaS on on-prem, no, ano yung delineation of the responsibility. So this enabled or enable us, no, to discuss, no, sa mga students natin, no, on what specific aspect yung kailangan natin i-maintain. And again, no, that will be part of the challenges. No? If you are running on-prem, let's say, no, lahat ng capability dapat nasa iyo. No? And operations, no? Yung backing up, yung maintenance, pag may hardware failure, no, ikaw yung nagpapalit, no? But that would be shifted, no, if you go to infrastructure service kasi you don't concern yourself with hardware failure. Patching ng mga virtual machines, network optimization, that's on the provider. No? But the rest, no, again, you instantiate some VMs, that's your responsibility na at that point. And then so on and so forth pagdating sa PaaS and SaaS. No? Mas dumadami yung responsibility ng vendor. But still, some of these items, kahit na naka-software sa service ka, no, would still be in the responsibility, in the realm of responsibility ng customer. Like as mentioned, accounts and identities, devices, no, kung you're not maintaining your device, you allow any users to just install anything on it, and baka may malware na nadamay, no, and the system gets compromised. So that's beyond the scope of responsibility of the vendor. So, yun lang, mas ano na to. Mas simple to for discussion. Very good yung delineation, but this, for the most part, pertains to infrastructure as a service. And the Microsoft one, similar, no, but they segmented it, no, to different um, as a service na, no, na verticals. No? Okay, ano lang, in case may question, dump na lang sa chat or sa Q&A. I might be able to answer then, no? Especially with the discussion ng content. Okay. Okay. So when doing with cloud, no, we want to, of course, ensure that the system is secure and locked down, no? And this is going to be used in relation to OpenRAN. It's going to be used as a part of the critical infrastructure, this communication infrastructure. So CSA, fortunately for us, no, Cloud Security Alliance, they released the latest version is version 4 of the Cloud Control Matrix. This is a spreadsheet of 17 domains, no, covering all key aspects of cloud technology. With 197 controls, now you could check. No, it's a basic, I would say, checklist. No, but you could start identifying items of concern, and then you could use this to audit various implementation ng mga cloud computing, even Open RAN based cloud computing. And I would recommend, no, tying it up with the security course. No, if you deploy sa cloud, use CCM, no, to validate yung mga security controls and it's properly implemented. Could let you see sample. I have the version 3.1. Yeah. So this is the version 3.0.1. May version 4 na. But I'll get the new version. But I think officially you have to download it from the site. Kasi you need to register. No? So like for this one, for the application and interface security, no? You need to follow, no? Sa mga APIs na i-deploy mo sa cloud and even with OpenRAN. No? Designed, developed, and deployed, no? And tested with leading industry standard like OWASP for web application. No? And adhere to applicable legal, statutory, and regulatory compliance. So may check ka ng ganyan. Then you have to validate, no, sa system mo. Na-review ba sa compute, sa storage, sa app, sa data, no? Other standards that could map it. For Canada, CCM, Canada PIPEDA, CCM version 1, COBIT, COBIT 5, a lot of other frameworks, no, like FedRAMP. So meron din siya mga mapping, no, on various framework, no, para pag nagche-check ka parang meron siyang binabanggaan, even NIST, no. You could map it out. So yeah, it's may expanded version na to with a lot more controls, no, but this is yung I call this, how we would want to audit, no, various cloud deployments, no, if it passes CCM. Sorry. Okay, so the version for this is the domains. You could expand on this for discussion sa class. And this alone, no, pwede mga 2 to 3 sessions sa dami, no. But some of this would also be discussed sa security course ng HO. Okay, but this is cloud specific, no. So yeah, from business continuity, discuss the application kanina, how do we audit it, business continuity, change control, cryptographic keys management, data center security, um, privacy lifecycle, governance, human resource, IAM, interoperability and portability, virtualization platform, logging mechanisms, security and IR, no? The moment na magkaroon na issue, diba, how do you investigate supply chain, no? Since this is a common problem nowadays that if even if we are secure, no, our third party vendors, no, software or suppliers, no, might be the one introducing risk to our infrastructure, no. So how do we audit and make them accountable for this? The threat surface and vulnerability management, no, sorry, threat and vulnerability management with threat surface reduction to minimize exposure. And then for the endpoint devices, ng mga servers, mobile phones, and laptops, no, and tablets, no, universal endpoint management. How do we secure them? And how do we audit their security? Okay. For our activity in this course, no, I would be encouraging the students, no, to sign up. May mga free and some tutorials on the top 3 vendors, no? So GCP, AWS, and Azure. Let's sample AWS, no? We will be requiring them to sign up. At least for this one, no, AWS free tier, no. Problem might be an issue too. is that you would be required an email address and a credit or debit card. No, not sure if all the students would be able to provide it, or would the organization be providing parang institutionalized, no, na AWS, no, like you could sign up, no, kung ano kayo kay Amazon, yung or yung sorry, what do you call this, yung school nyo, pwede ka mag-sign up kay awsamazon.com/education AWS educate/students, and marami pa sila actually tutorial within that portal, no, on how to do it. And then you could also use Azure. But for our activity would be signing up to AWS. Again, either student provided or educational institution provided. And then mag-start sila ng services. No? Yung basic infra lang ni Amazon, yung micro instance. I could demo it now. Go to this site, create a free account, and maghihingi lang siya ng typical sign up, no? AWS or new one, no? But they would require sometimes a credit card or debit card, and then they would also require a phone number, no, to tie up. But assuming naka-sign up na tayo, okay, they'll be presented with this Azure, sorry, AWS console. We would want them to instantiate an EC2 instance. 0, Singapore ako, launch instance. Basic Amazon AWS. Free tier eligible, 64-bit. One instance lang. And T2 Micro, no? So this would be yung available for at least a year, no? If you spawn it. Okay. Key pair for the login, we would be generating a new key pair. Ayora demo. Key pair, okay, so downloaded. And then, dito pa pwede natin sabihin na, okay, allow ba natin HTTPS? Actually, we would. Kasi the next step would be installing WordPress, no, or any CMS, no, for their experience of spawning an instance and then installing a web service, no. Walang restrictions, no, but you could restrict it if you wanted to for your organization. Storage, 8 gig lang, GP3, good enough, no, for our use, no. So everything checks out, launch instance, and it's gonna spawn the VM. And since instantiated na siya, it's gonna take a few minutes, no, to fire up. But you'll have this running instance on the AWS console, and you could now interact with it, no, the moment it's up. If they want to experiment on IPv6, you could assign IPv6 address on this instance. But typically, kung end-to-end, no, ideally, meron ka ring IPv6 address from your terminal, no? But so far, at least for the universities, I'm not sure if any other school are using it, no? Sa Diliman, we're already using IPv6 since 2011 within our infrastructure. Yeah, may growing pains, yes. But we're running dual stack, no? So, in case may failure sa IPv6, magpa-fallback naman siya sa IPv4. But yeah, this instance is running. We have a public IP. Now we could log in. It's knotted to this private IPv4 address. We could connect na via console. So that's one. Meron ding username na easy to user. Oops. Kaya natin connect dito. Yep. So you have your AWS console, no? With that's accessible via public IP address. Public IP address niya would be this one. So if you have your user and students no interact and ano lang. Pwede ka na rin mag basic Linux tutorial dito kasi it's gonna be good at least for a year sa kanila no for their instance. Could have Linux tutorials, web services, APIs, so they could run it here. Um, and but for the objective of the cloud computing course is have them experience no how to provision, ano yung mga options, and yung next step would be have them get to a tutorial online on how to install WordPress no uh, from an AWS EC2 instance. And since we allowed HTTPS and HTTP naman, this should be a no-brainer. No? So maybe another 2 hours for is the setup, additional 2 hours for setting up WordPress, and that basically would give them experience infrastructure as a service and even configuring web services and web applications no, on a Linux environment. Okay, so that's maybe the activity for the cloud computing. The rest would be readings. Now we discuss challenges on what typically I experience in my consulting gigs no, for almost 2 decades no, when they said let's move to the cloud, mas secure doon or it will solve all our problem. It's not the case no. Yung problem sa challenges would be security no one of the main issues na encounter security. They thought that if I get hacked no I just get my data, ship it back to the cloud to the cloud and then instantiate it there and I'll be okay no, but that's not the case kasi hindi mo naman inayos yung issue no, and the cloud, while meron kang provisioning for WAF, there's a cost. You have to tune it, you have to configure it properly, and they don't usually do that no, usually default lang yung on nila tas they think that's okay. That's not the case no. Again, cloud is not secure as most people would want it to be. Merong again shared responsibility on what's the component na sinesecure ng vendor and what component is the responsibility of the user. And you need to be skilled for that to work properly. No? And it's not as easy as create and migrate to the cloud and be done with it. No? Another issue and challenge would be compliance. It's the problem here would be some regulations won't allow us to move data to the cloud. No? We have issue or minor kinks or in the Philippines no, in data sovereignty, wherein they wanted to host all critical data no, within the country, as what other first world nations are doing. No? The problem is, wala pa namang AWS data center, let's say, in the Philippines. So the nearest one would be in APAC. So I think there would be a need to change in the regulation that maybe ASEAN, no? I-allow tayo for at least an ASEAN country. But yun, the problem would be compliance to certain rules, no? But even then, no, may mga issue na dito with banks, no? Some of their data are already hosted in the cloud. While they need authorization kay BSP, some of them would say, hindi, mag-on-prem lang kami mo. Okay? Kasi ayaw na i-violate yung data sovereignty law. But they are using cloud protection services no, like Cloudflare. So that means, di ba, yung data, yung login, di ba, pupunta mo na kay Cloudflare sa labas ng bansa and then babalik sa server nila. Data is actually coming out. It's not stored, but data is traversing outside. Then we also have the issue with Globe and PLDT. No? They're not technically linked within the Philippines. They said they're linked, no? But if you check yung mga latency between two telcos, no? Pag meron kang kausap on kung nasa isang telco ka, kausap nasa isa, no? Data is also going out of the country no, to be routed back. So, while okay yung concept sana ng data sovereignty, no, but it's not actually happening in practice and actually dami nagbabayad. Another issue, vendor lock-in. This is when, of course, sanay ka na sa AWS, yung skills mo is AWS, pero meron pa na service na okay, or mas okay pala yung price ng, let's say, some niche cloud provider. Say, you computed, Linode, no? Lahat pala na kailangan mo, kayang gawin ni Linode at half the price. Problem mo. Wala kang skill set sa Linode. No? Lahat ng alam mo is nandito sa Linux. No? So, paano yan? Ay, sorry. Sir Noel, pwede pa mute po. Okay. Data migration is also gonna be an issue. Aside from vendor lock-in, no, let's say mag-shift ka ng different cloud provider, that's a problem. Or mag-shift ka from on-prem to cloud. Um, if you have terabytes of data, no, and you don't have the bandwidth, that you might take a few weeks or even a month. No? Some cloud providers have a service na you could ship them a hard drive. No? So, again, mas malaki yung bandwidth na. No? 8 terabytes of hard drive, lagay mo lahat ng data mo. Ship mo to Singapore and then load nila yung hard drive. So that's the easy approach. Of course, you don't want to send unencrypted data. Usually, password protected yon, encrypted blob. Once na na-load, tsaka mo palang i-decrypt sa instance mo yung data. No? So, but that's done. But they haven't considered it and coupled that with the bandwidth. No? Um, yung mga nakita ko organizations that migrated to the cloud na sabi nila, hindi, mas efficient yan. Okay. Most of their info nilagay sa cloud. Ay, yung bandwidth pala nila dito, well, maliit lang. No? And Philippines being one of the most expensive internet cost, no, is in terms of bandwidth, yung tinipid nila, kinain lang ng bandwidth nila, sobra-sobra pa. And aside from that, may latency pa yung system nila, which again, they weren't able to consider when migrating to the cloud. So, security incidents, no? Again, cloud is not without fault, no? This one, AWS, no? Well, it was 2014, so almost a decade ago, no? May mga console breaches on AWS. Not the fault of AWS, but more of negligence, either na phish or basic credentials ng organizations, no, like CodeSpace allowed threat actors to access and basically delete lahat ng infrastructure ng CodeSpace that's hosted in AWS. Hence, may mga designs of cloud that would use multiple vendors. No? Parang may AWS ka pero sinisync mo hindi to Azure. Okay? Para lang in case one gets compromised or outage, no? You still have your data. It's not gonna be working live immediately. Parang you could call it na uh, hindi siya warm, cold backup, no? Or cold redundancy. But at least you have your data there, no? If you want a recent incident, no, check out Nordic Cloud, tsaka Azero Cloud. This was just last week, no? They were compromised and their data was encrypted, no, by ransomware operators, and they're now selling the key back to decrypt. No? Again, this was just last week. And they are not paying, but they don't know how to get the data back. So there's a chance that they might close shop, no? Kasi I mean, who would trust them at that point, no? Kung mga kliyente nila is yung data mismo nawala. Hence, ganun pa rin. You have a cloud, but diba, yung data and backup mo, meron ka pa rin dapat copy on-prem, no? Kasi that's something tangible na you could bank on pag may nangyari. Makaka-restore ka ng operations. No? So, it's not all cloud, no? Tapos aandar yan as is. No? Now, again, the ICT, they have a cloud-first policy. May mga discrepancy on how this is gonna be implemented, but some systems are hosted in AWS. But now, again, my questions with, is that in accordance with data sovereignty? Okay? Likely not, kasi abroad yun. So, interesting to discuss and expound this or Open RAN, no? Especially with cloud deployments. As with AWS compliance, no, they are saying that they are compliant, no, to BSP Circular 982, no, for banking and financial law, including Data Privacy Act, no. Yun though is this would still be hitting on yung data sovereignty law. But well, we need to make do with what we have. Wala pang AWS data center dito. Hopefully they establish one para lahat would be in compliance, but this would be a thing. And may discrepancy before, no, when minamarket ng AWS before yung service nila sa mga banks, and they were saying na, oh look, yung Singapore nga, yung monetary service nila, no, yung parang BSP nila, they're hosting their data in our cloud, but they're missing the input that, well, may data center within Singapore, no? So that's within their territory, no? Tayo wala tayong ganun, no? So But yun parang I would say deceptive marketing. No? They're marketing it na some countries are putting their data in the cloud, not disclosing na, well, it's within their territory. But yeah, stuff to ponder pag gumawa tayo sa using cloud and public cloud for that matter in OpenRun. So other privacy frameworks, no, that's supported by AWS, they have a list, no. So not gonna be an issue there. For vendor lock-in, we again your skill set and services and comfortability would most likely be on one vendor, and it's gonna be very hard to migrate to another, no. But sometimes it's the cost, no, that would necessitate to move to another vendor, especially if hindi mo naman ginagamit lahat ng features ni let's say Amazon, no? And again, Linode is good enough for your use case, then at half price, no, it would be worth it, but your internal team might be against that move. Kasi sanay na sila sa AWS, mag-aaral naman sila ng bagong system, no? So they wouldn't want that. Okay. So for migration, no, it's how do you secure the data when you migrate, no? You go back to shared responsibility model, no? Again, it would still be most likely be falling under your jurisdiction. You need to secure the data in transit, you need to secure the data at rest, and then you need to secure the data pag in-access na siya ng mga customers mo within the cloud computing environment. And as mentioned kanina, no, the volume, no, this is most of the time, no, wasn't considered, no, when migrating to the cloud. If you see an organization, they have 20 terabytes of data, no, took them 2 months. Kasi hindi nila na-predict, no, na ganun kalaki yung data na kailangan nila i-move. Well, they had the option to ship to the in disk, no, but they weren't comfortable with that, so they just may do na naka-program lang. Hindi ang explanation is hindi naman natin may update sabay-sabay. So kahit naabutin ng 2 months yung loading nung data nila, no, they would prioritize systems, no. So because it was gonna take some time to load all of their infrastructure to the cloud. Integration, no, there are systems that is latency sensitive, OpenRun. So if you move some components to the cloud and mataas yung latency papunta sa mga on-prem equipment, that might be an issue, no? Hence, the latency issue is actually being solved by edge computing, wherein you push the some computing power to the edge, no? Para again, nagkakaroon na lang ng parang routing and central storage na lang si cloud, no? Again, nagkakaroon ng decentralization at that point, no? Again, it's a complex process. A lot of the times, it's the bandwidth, no? Hindi nako-compute yung cost and latency and time, no, when doing cloud migration. So we will need to consider that. But if OpenRun deployment and cloud na to begin with, then at least that's not gonna be an issue, yung volume, no? But latency would still have to be greatly considered, no? Especially for low latency requirements ng radio network. Okay. As mentioned, no, we have the most expensive bandwidth, well, almost. Nasa top 2, 3, 4, top 5 tayo, no? For Asia actually. And mas mahal pa tayo sa Japan, no, na sobrang high capacity ng bandwidth nila tapos mas mura. So saya si Ma'am Raquel. Enjoy siya ng gigabits na walang problema. Okay. So benefits, of course, no, feature rich use case, no. 5G autonomous vehicle needs hybrid ecosystem, no. You do have some sensors, but for entire environment telemetry, no, most likely you need a central location kung saan kayo nagre-report, and then pababa sa yung information to make the, let's say, yung mga autonomous vehicles decision, no. And to a degree, this is happening now. If you use Waze, diba, yung telemetry mo gets transmitted to the cloud, and that basically is pulled and gets broadcasted to all the users, giving them the benefit of determining saan traffic, saan mas mabilis dumaan, saan may issue. And of course, that's not without flaw. Some issues disclosure, no? I'm a senior waste editor then in my free time. Not paid, it's a volunteer work. So, what we do notice is if may data na missing, no? May mga tao na naglalakad, naka-on yung waste, so that makes it an anomaly sa system. Or yung mga nakamotor na naka-waste, no? Tapos hindi nila tinag yung device nila as motorcycle. So akala nung system, it's ang bilis sa ere na to. Pero karamihan pala nakamotor. No? Pero yung mga kotse nakatukod na traffic. No? But I think Waze is doing some machine learning telemetry to figure out na kahit hindi mo iset kung yung behavior mismo ka motor, they would tag you as motor and hindi sasama yung data mo sa traffic computation. Again, amount of data generated, no, and storing this centrally, no, again, you need to consider security, latency, responsiveness, analytics management, and of course, governance. So cloud, they were really designed for big data analytics kasi you could provision a lot of compute power, storage, memory, no, at the push of a button, and of course your credit card. But again, you've seen this use for data analytics, no, and big data processing, no, and that would be beneficial in Open RAN since you have a lot of this information, no, telemetry coming from various sources, from your system, from your users. And you could provision, no, historically that if 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. may peak calls, I could maybe provision more instances, no, to support that. But come 9 to 11, no, medyo nagdip ng 30%, I could now start destroying those machines kasi hindi ko naman siya kailangan. No? And the cost would also be variable. No? And then you could even do it auto-scale. That if your system hits a certain threshold, let's say 80% processing, you could start instantiating instances para ma-distribute yung load. No? And if bumababa siya to maybe 50%, no, you could start destroying instances para mag-reconsolidate ng workload yung cloud. No? So that's a good benefit. Now you cannot do that on-prem infrastructure because binili mo na tapos umaandar na siya doon. So hindi siya efficient storage-wise, footprint-wise, and power-wise. No? So even though hindi 100% fully operating yung CPU, you have to power it close to optimal, close to requirement level, no? And yung cooling would most likely be the same. Although of course, pag nag 100% load, mas umiinit, mas tumataas yung power consumption, need more cooling. But still, mas maganda yung sa cloud setting wherein you could destroy VMs, no, if you don't need it, and then just provision it pag kailangan. Okay. And well, that goes with the pricing model. No? You only pay what you use, but do be careful kasi I've seen threat actors, no, compromise cloud infrastructure. They don't even care about your data. They need just the admin. And what they are doing is they are instantiating a large amount of GPU-based instance. And they would run cryptocoin miners. No? And I've seen organization that was charged 10 million. Okay? And when we computed, yung kinita lang ng threat actor was 2 million. But it doesn't matter sa kanila. Kasi that's 2 million on their on their pockets na. And they're not gonna be the one gonna pay the 10 million, diba? It's not the threat actors, it's the users. No? So it's a very expensive lessons learned. Again, they don't even care about the data. Kasi if they would ransom the data, there's still a huge chance. No? A lot of people and organizations are not paying, so they won't get paid. But if they instantiate cryptocoin miners, it's instant cash for them. And what I saw, at least on this instance, what I saw the threat actors did was they even attempted to check when is the billing cycle. And they only started the instances for the cryptocoin miners a day after. Para they have at least a month before the organization figure out na oy, may nangyayari kakaiba. No? But at that rate, the anomaly was too obvious, no? Actually, si Microsoft na yung nagpatay dun sa mga instance niya at nireport sa kanila na ah totoo ba itong ginagawa niyo or most likely compromise kayo? And when they check, well, it was the threat actor using their instances. No? Um, Regulatory compliance benefits, no? They are doing a lot of provisioning ng data centers, no? But not for the Philippines, unfortunately. Ito, hindi natin makuha yung benefit nito yet. There are some talks na mag-open down ng data center si AWS. Not sure yet on ano na yung status for at least for the Philippines. No? Um, okay. So trends in cloud computing, no, we have multi-cloud assumption. Again, they're not just relying on one vendor alone. Usually are running various vendors, no, AWS, Azure, GCP, even Linode comes into picture, no, even just to get the data as a backup. There's also edge computing to decentralize, no, and push computing power, especially for latency sensitive applications to the end user. No? Compute it there, kung ano man yung result, you push it back to the cloud. So I think if you were watching Apple no, event this week, this is one of the changes that they made sa Apple Watch Ultra 2. Wherein yung Siri sa watch, usually i-record lang yung voice mo, then i-upload sa cloud for processing. And for those of you using Siri, that is useful for the most part, no? But sometimes it's annoying. With the increase of compute power ng Apple Watch Ultra 2, Apple said now you could now process that data within the watch. No, and again, just notifying the cloud after it was processed. So that's a welcome use case, and that's an example of edge computing. Again, pushing it to uh, the users, no, as close to the users as possible, no, to minimize latency. There's also serverless computing, like AWS Lambda, and of course AI and machine learning using cloud. Tends to be expensive, no? But sometimes it's more economical than buying various graphics card. So with the boom of crypto coin mining, the legal way, no, a lot of people are buying these cards, and the law of supply and demands dictate that this graphic cards tends to be very expensive at this rate. So yeah, just some description of multi-cloud, edge computing, serverless, and AI machine learning.